Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tea Time Chat. Today we're going to talk about violins. As you can see here, I have 3 violins, and we'll take a quick look at them and maybe hear a little bit about how they sound. So as you know, I've been playing guitar for over 20 years and probably maybe have 3 or 4 years of bass guitar under my belt now, and then I picked up mandolin a few months ago. I think it was in September or something like that. One of my friends, Dean, was selling a mandolin on behalf of someone, and so I decided to buy it because the price was right and I was curious, and I was trying to help a guy out. And so playing around with mandolin, I discovered that it has the same tuning and the same scale length as a violin. The only difference is mandolin has twice the number of strings. So I had thought about it, and I decided to give the violin a try. There were a couple of violins kicking around my parents' house, so I figured, well, if I've got a couple on hand for free, why not? So I tried by myself, and I quickly found out the violin is a rare and cantankerous and flighty creature, and it's not easily mastered. So I've signed up for lessons. So I've been taking lessons since November of 2014, and I am about 3 months into it, and I'm just about finished with Suzuki Book 1. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about the tea. Today this is lemon mango fruit tea. This is like an herbal tea, and it's a loose leaf tea. I got this down in Savannah, so we've had a little bit brewing here, so I'm going to pour up a cup, and we'll get started. So this tea has a very nice kind of dark red, one that's not real dark, it's a pinkish, dark pink, reddish color. I don't think I'm going to be able to show this to you on camera without spilling everything, but rest assured this is an awesome tea. If you like herbal tea, it's in the morning, so I don't really particularly need a caffeine fix right now. That's great. Alright, so let's get to it. So we're going to go in order here, right to left. And this instrument, this is I know the lighting in here is really awful. So my house is old and it's dark, so just we'll deal with it. So this is the instrument to one of them that was kicking around my parents' house. This is a Chinese Gibson Baldwin. Apparently these kits retail for, I think it may be discontinued, but maybe they retail around $100. They're really cheap. I think my dad may have bought this like at an antique shop or at a pawn shop or something. So this is what I started on. It has a tailpiece here with fine tuners, chin rest. I mean, this is machine made in China. This is 4/4 size, Gibson Baldwin model GBVLSM from Gibson Baldwin Music Education. So the good thing about this violin is that, of course, we have the fine tuners, and it actually stays in tune really well. Like the pegs up here, they don't slip. If I had one awesome thing to say about this, is that the tuning is pretty rock solid. Like even overnight, after a couple days, it may have slipped just a couple of cents. And it's, for learning to play on, it's not bad. The only thing I have to say is, and by the way, this has frets. This is basically a sticker with frets on it. The frets are made out of like a certain fishing line, and they're sort of all laminated in there together. This is from the fiddlefretter.com, I believe. You can see we've got position markers. So if you're coming to violin from guitar or something like that, this will really help you know where the notes are and kind of start getting your muscle memory down, because it's maddening. It makes me really mad and frustrated to try and figure out the intonation, at least at first, right? I mean, it was awful. So with violin, you've got to learn how to intonate the notes, and you've got to learn how to manipulate the bow, which is also very difficult if you're not used to it. So, you know, that being said, if you can get the fiddle fretter, that'll at least take one of those things out of the equation. The bad thing about this particular instrument is I don't know exactly what the deal is, but the high E string, the only E string, frets out, like right around the A note here, like the G sharp A, the B flat B, it frets out. Hear that? I don't know if that is, I don't think it's because of the fretter I have on here. I think it's because the fingerboard is probably cut improperly, or maybe the neck itself has warped. I mean, it's really kind of hard to say, but if I slide down the fingerboard, I see there is a little bit of a dip right there. So again, I don't know if it was just cut improperly or just due to age, if it's warped. I don't think this is still on the market, this model. Some other things to note. I don't think any of the wood is real ebony. Like you can look and see here where it's drilled that the wood is not black, and I don't know, I'm assuming ebony is black all the way through. So I don't think it's real ebony. The fingerboard, the chin rest, and the pegs are certainly not. I had to actually these are a set, I believe these are D'Addario Preludes. So they have thicker wrapping up at the top than the stock string, so I had to drill out the pegs a little bit to get the string ends in there. And then the other bad thing is I don't know exactly what the deal is, but this one feels a little bit harder to play, like especially on the E string. Here, there, it's fretting out. But I don't know if it's the tilt or the angle or something, but when I'm coming down here, the E string is a little bit hard to get to for whatever reason. I don't really know what woods it's made of. I mean, it looks nice. It's heavily varnished. It's very shiny. The back looks nice. The purfling, the little lines, the binding around the edge, I think is just drawn in. I mean, if you found one of these, it's probably alright. I mean, if you're just looking for something to get started. I mean, you could do probably much, much better than this for beginner violin. But I had this on hand, so I figured why not. So I'll just play a little bit so you can hear how it sounds. Hear that? And yeah, I screwed up there, hitting strings, whatever. Like I said, I'm still pretty awful. I'm not going to edit that out. You just have to deal with it. Yeah, so Gibson Baldwin, you can see the back is a two-piece back. See the seam there. So for what it's worth, there's the Gibson Baldwin violin. Like I said, you could probably do much better for a beginner instrument. Alright, so we're going to get a refill here on our tea. Very nice tea. I mean, this is non-caffeinated, but like I said, it's the morning. I just woke up, still in my pajamas, pirate pajamas. I really don't need a caffeine hit just now. Alright, so we will move on to number 2 in the lineup. Alright, so this is a very special violin, or it could be a special piece of garbage. This was lurking around in a woodshed in Chickamauga that was owned by apparently a violin maker. This was actually assembled from a pile of busted and forgotten scraps. So I'll show you the pictures there in a minute. So you can see, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but this has all kind of like worm tracks and everything in the front. No one knows anything about this. There's a label inside that basically tells you that it's a Stradivarius copy. No one knows how old it is, if it's really old, or if it was, you know, if this was somehow antiqued. I mean, it looks to me like it was fairly old. The purfling, we don't think the purfling was inlaid, but it was at least scored around it, so they took a good amount of time. I have no idea what the woods are. I guess maybe it's a spruce top and maple back inside. So you can see kind of the back has got a little bit of a flame to it with the burst and everything. So one thing that you'll see that's interesting, any of you who know about violins, is look at the fingerboard. Look how flat it sits to the body. That's definitely not normal. And you can look at the bridge and see how much I had to cut it down. I cut about probably ½ an inch off the bridge and ground it down so I could get a reasonable action. Let's see what else. This also has the fiddle fretter. You can see there, this is the stealth model of the fiddle fretter, so it doesn't have the position markers, and the frets themselves don't really stand out. So this is, I guess, to make it a little less awful looking and maybe get you one step closer to playing without it, because you don't have the position markers. I put this chin rest on there. I spent a bit of money on this chin rest, so I hope it's real ebony. It looks like it may be. It was like a $30-something chin rest. I do have a shoulder rest. This is the Everest shoulder rest, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to put this on all these 3 violins. Let's look. Again, I know the lighting's awful. Let's look at kind of the scroll and the peg box, and I think these are real ebony pieces. I think so. Yeah, for what it's worth. So there's this. Here's the pieces. So my dad put this together. This is what the violin looked like when my dad got it. You can see that's the back and the sides. And you can see here, there's the top. The top was busted in at least 2 pieces. And it was just a train wreck. So he put it together, and I figured, well, why not? I had to buy some new strings on it. I just put some cheap steel strings on it. Sent it out to the luthier to have the sound post. I put a new sound post put in, and a new nut. Because when my dad put this together, he put it together for him being left-handed, so I had to redo that. And then I bought a new tailpiece, a tailpiece with fine tuners. The original tailpiece is just a slab of ebony that is more traditional. So I sent it off to the luthier. They did that. They adjusted the length of the tail gut here. The nut they put on, they did a really, really awful job on the nut. It made me so mad. It was like the Hoover Dam poking up like way up, and they just did a sloppy job with the string slots, and the string spacing was like so close together. It was the most awful thing ever. So I had to do a number on this with my Orbit sander, and I fixed it in less than 5 minutes, but still, it was awful, very bad. I won't take anything there again. So yeah, So by the way, this is the bow that came with the Gibson Baldwin, and it is warped. I don't think you can see that on the camera. It's warped a little bit, but I'm going to keep this around till I get another bow for this. This is probably going to be a forever violin for me. It plays a lot easier than the Gibson Baldwin. I think also you can see the fingerboard radius is very flat. So this is definitely set up for fiddle. This is not set up for classical violin. But we'll just have a listen about what this sounds like. So yeah, so there's this. We're just going to call this the old fiddle. I think it sounds, I have no idea. It sounds better, I guess, than the Gibson Baldwin, maybe. It definitely does not fret out on the E string. Yeah, I mean, it's really nice. I mean, check out the back. That's a one-piece back. You see there's no seam. If you can see like the striping there. I need to get Genevieve to look at this and give me her opinion on it. But you know, I mean, it's no obvious. Obviously, it's not going to be like a really valuable violin. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be, you know, worth hundreds and hundreds or thousands of dollars or anything. I just expect it to play nicely, better than the Gibson Baldwin, and it does. For whatever reason, it seems to me that I can play it a lot easier. I don't know. I don't know if maybe the fingerboard is a little wider, but for whatever reason, I just have an easier time playing it. So, for what it's worth, that one I may feature in some of my recordings when I want to do violin. Wow, this is 17 minutes already. Alright, so the last on our lineup is this one way over here. So I purchased this under the direction of Genevieve. This is a Chinese handcrafted model. This is from the Lu Ji workshops in China. I guess that's what that is. It's handcrafted. It's a model T20, which is supposed to be their best professional model. You can see here's the eBay listing. It's a copy. I don't know if that's like a famous violin maker or whatever. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I assume it's Italian. The Del Gesù copy. So their T20s normally are like $500-600, but this was heavily discounted. The label, it looks like it may say 2010 is when it was built. So if so, then it's been kicking around their workshop for 5 years, and I guess they wanted to get rid of it. They said that, so I've got sort of the information here from the website. They said there was some issue with the violin, which we couldn't really figure out what that meant. They talked about the wood having a, quote, blood ray, unquote. No one knows what that means. So this is entirely hand-built from one artist, from one luthier. So apparently the top is spruce, the back and sides are maple, fingerboard is ebony, and they said that the wood is air-dried, and I think, let's see, it's down here, it says that the wood is seasoned for 5 years. So five or more years. Apparently they use an electronic moisture scanner to test the moisture content of this thing. So let's have a little bit of a look. So it is varnished, but it's not a very heavy varnish, like compared to the Gibson Baldwin, which looks like it's like very deeply varnished. This is not. This has more of a look and feel closer to the old fiddle, I think. Gosh, I don't think you can see any of this. One thing that I really like about this is the chin rest, how it comes up and over the tailpiece. So, you know, I can get closer to it like this. You know, if it's down here, then the E string is kind of hard to get to, but you know, I can put my chin right here and it's a little easier. So you can see the tailpiece is very well sculpted. It's got a nice ridge down the center there. It only has one fine tuner. I'm probably going to change that because it's irritating. Like, if the string is off by a few cents, or let me say less than a half step, it's really, really difficult to get it dialed in with the pegs, at least for me. If you can get it to within one half step, which is doable with the pegs, then the fine tuner getting it the rest of the way is very nice. So no fiddle fretter on here. I probably will not put one on here. I'll probably just keep this for like a normal human would play a violin. So here's the back. It's a two-piece back. You can see it's got the nice flaming going on there. In terms of the purfling, I don't think it's inlaid. It looks like it may just be drawn on. But yeah, so this is this. You can see the end pin here. Maybe not. It's got a nice little decorative button. The tailpiece has a nice, I don't really know what to call that, a nice little, almost like a nut there for the tailpiece. So here's the scroll box. The tuners are very finely carved. You can see they've got a lot of detail, a lot of ornamentation. There's the back of the neck. I mean, this also feels like it has, and it is. Oh, I measured these. So this one has it definitely has a wider fingerboard than either of the other two. I think the old fiddle maybe just maybe like 1 millimeter wider than the Gibson Baldwin, and then this one is like probably a good millimeter or more wider than the fiddle. Yeah, so that being said, oh, and it came with this bow. You can see it's got kind of like the I guess that's yellow and black wrapping there. This feels like it's a really nice bow. It's not warped. It's got an octagonal cross section. I mean, I don't know that it's really, really nice, but it's definitely nicer than this other bow. I guess that's mother of pearl, or as we say in the guitar world with fake mother of pearl, it could be mother of toilet seat. So yeah, here we go. That's how this sounds. So that's all I'm going to torture you with playing. Hopefully that was enough to at least get an idea of what this sounds like. So, yeah, here's this. This, like I said, it's supposedly a professional quality instrument. This eBay store was recommended to me by Genevieve, and she knows what she's talking about. So I'm trusting her that it really is a professional quality. I'll have someone look at it later. See if there's anything else here in the documentation that we could talk about. So the bow is a Brazil wood bow. This also came with a case and rosin, and it was like $300. Buy it now plus $50 some odd shipping. And I almost actually missed it because the shipping it got here like in less than a week from China, which is amazing. I didn't even check the tracking until like Wednesday, and they had already been trying to deliver it, and they were going to send it back. I wasn't expecting it until next week, to the 19th or the 20th. But yeah, so this shop in China is apparently very well respected. I wish I had the name of it, but it's not like on here. I think it is like on eBay. I think it's like YIT Music or something, and they've got like 4 figures worth of positive feedback. I did try and ask the guy about the blood ray, and he's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the wood, so whatever that means. But it definitely seems nice. So it says here the varnish is the 1743 varnish style. So they're talking about maybe something that was wrong with the back for the special price. I don't know if because the color is splotchy, maybe that's what they mean about the blood ray. But if it's just, and it has some texture to it. There's some, it's not smooth like glass. It's a piece of wood. It's got, I guess that's faux aging. I don't know, maybe that was just normal imperfections in the wood. If they didn't, they didn't want to sand it down completely smooth or whatever. I don't really know anything about violins. Yeah, so this is an MV 7000 T20 for professional players. Okay, so here they say that the wood has been dried for over 12 years for this T20 model. So I don't know. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Okay, yeah, okay. So here's what they're saying. So yeah, so I was reading that wrong previously. So the wood is dried for over 12 years. They say that less than 10% of instruments from China use wood that is dried or seasoned for more than 5 years. So 12 years on that thing. Blah, blah, blah. So they talk about they can judge the level of moisture by using an electronic moisture meter or the smell of the wood. They say violins made from fresh woods have a risk of cracking. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see, so they say about the plate thickness, it's about 5% thicker than standard thickness. So the thick plates apparently hold their tone better, according to this. No idea. So this, they talk about, and on the page they have all kinds of showing them detailed pictures of the violin using a radius gauge on the fingerboard. So if you're into guitar luthier work, they have radius gauges for fingerboards and stuff. So anyway, we're about 30 minutes here. I don't really know anything about violin, honestly, so take this video for what you think it's worth. I hope to do some recording with some violin in the future, and I think these two over here may end up making an appearance on videos. This one, I have a very hard time getting a good sound out of the Gibson Baldwin on tape. So, and I did try. So, not this one. I'm probably going to give this back. So I'm going to keep these two and probably use them equally or whatever. So anyway, thanks for watching this. I hope it wasn't super boring. And have a look at my videos and maybe subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Until next time, tally ho.